Sari Soinoja, welcome into the studio. It's been a while since we've had a chat and crossed paths for that matter. So for those of you that do not know who Sari is, I'm going to hand it over to Sari, and I hope I have given your surname justice. We were just chatting off air, and you did say that I did do a good job, so hopefully that came across okay.
Yes, thank you, Dan. It was quite okay, quite Finnish actually. And thank you for having me here. It's a real pleasure.
No, it's good to have you. Look, we crossed paths some time ago, actually.
Hmm.
We actually, in days gone by, worked at Varlo. You were the
Hmm.
product manager of the Varlo intranets, and as I came on board, you were running that amazing product. And then, look, since then, I actually took over from that role
Hmm.
from
You did.
you, and then you left and did what you're doing now. It's some amazing work out with clients. So tell me a little bit about, since leaving Varlo, what have you been up to?
Well, I moved from Valo to Melt Lake. It's a small Finnish consulting company, Microsoft specialized, and basically since then I have been doing a lot of customer projects and consulting, and basically the things I really love and that give me so much joy. So
Mm. So what is it
everything
about?
related, everything related to N365, basically.
Yeah, I guess what is it about the consulting side that you enjoy so much? I mean, things like, I mean, for me, it's about dealing with lots of different customers and clients and solving different problems and that type of thing. What is it about the consulting space that's keeping you busy?
Well, that's exactly the same. Like for me, uh, when I get a problem solved or when I get a spark up the light in the customer's eyes when they realize something that, hey, we can actually do this, we can actually manage to get some problem fixed or solved with the existing tools they already have, that's so much fun. And also because
Mm.
it's every day there is something happening, something new coming up in N365. So it's so much fun. It never gets
It
old,
is,
it never
yeah.
gets boring.
It's definitely an exciting space and a lot to keep on top of. And I guess it's difficult for a lot of customers, a lot of your clients, I guess, to stay on top of everything as well. A big part of what we do is
Mhm.
being able to take those business requirements and the outcomes that the clients are looking for, and then try and marry that up with the technology, and especially in our case is Microsoft 365.
Exactly.
Now, onto the topic of what we're going to have a chat about today. We're going to have a chat about Viva Engage, or should
Hmm.
I say Yammer. Now, recently you did a presentation at Comsverse around
Hmm.
this topic as well. Now, a lot of people and organisations have a bit of a love-hate relationship between. We'll bring Yammer up, and Viva Engage is obviously rebranded, or Yammer rebranded now.
Hmm.
Now, and I'm going to read this from Microsoft. Microsoft say Viva Engage connects everyone at your organization through employee communities and conversations. Now, tell me a little bit about what you've been doing in the Viva Engage space, and what are organizations using Viva Engage for primarily at the moment?
Well, I think currently they are a little bit confused what to do with them. So the organizations
Mm,
who have been using Yammer for a long time, they are still using it, but a bit, well, basically since when Teams came, they have been a bit perplexed on how to, like, what is their role. And that's what we
mm,
have been doing to help them to define all the roles for their internal communication channels, because Yammer is one of them, or Viva Engage is one of them, and so is Teams. But then again, there is also intranet and email and chats and even WhatsApp and whatever. So organizations are a bit, uh, they don't know what to do with it. And we
mm.
have been guiding them to do that and finding the right way to use Viva Engage, because it's a really good tool still, and it just kind of got lost when Teams came for a while.
I'm sure you come across the question, and it still happens today. It's Microsoft Teams versus Yammer, or sorry, Viva. We better start calling it Viva Engage. It has been officially rebranded.
Yes.
Dan Home will be not too happy with us if we continue to use that. So let's just continue to use Viva Engage. Now, Teams versus Yammer, two distinct applications, I guess, and different use cases. So how do you approach that type of question?
Well, because Teams is brilliant what it's meant for. So basically running teamwork. Team is usually quite compact. It can be a large one, but it's supposed to be quite compact, and the team is talking about certain matter. But in Yammer or in Viva Engage, I even actually heard a Viva Yammer term a couple of weeks ago, which was fun.
Viva Yammer.
Yeah, Viva Yammer. Yeah, let's not go there. But anyway, Viva Engage is something more for open. It's like an open marketplace or open space where anybody can come and can join the conversation or then can just browse it, and they don't need to join the conversation. They can just hang around until they feel comfortable of joining it. So and it's because in Viva Engage you don't need to know who to ask from, or you don't need to know who will answer your question. You can just have a question there or start a conversation there, and anybody in the organization can reply. And I think that is the really best part of it. You know what I'm saying?
See? Yeah. I mean, it is a really good tool to break down those silos as well, right? So being able to reach, reach people across the organisation, I think it's been an amazing way to be able to do that. And what I'm finding and seeing, and I'm interested to hear your take on this too, is a lot more of at the executive level now are starting to use the tool to openly communicate and have that two-way communication with their employees as well. Whether it's video or the ease at which they can now create content. We've obviously got more of the consumer style of communication coming in too. So stories, for example, I'm seeing a lot of CEOs as another example using stories and people following the CEO. And then being able to distribute their message across as well. Are you seeing that type of thing happening too?
Yes, I am. And I think it only makes sense because if you look at all the consumer social media platforms like Instagram or TikTok, they have millions and millions and millions of users who are just basically consuming videos, a lot of short videos. So it does make sense that we are bringing that opportunity to also to communications inside an organization, because video content, like short video content that you can just swipe and like browse through many of them, like really consume them, it makes sense that that's the way of people, how people are nowadays communicating through videos. So it only makes sense to have that in as part of organization communications as well. And why wouldn't the leaders and in the organization, why wouldn't they also open up a bit their personality to show anything or tell anything to their peers or to their employees through videos? Because that's also a really easy way to produce content.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about the size of organisations? Do you think there's, or have you seen, the larger organisations taking advantage of Viva Engage more than the smaller types of organisations?
I think it fits for everyone. I've had a couple of larger organizations and with Viva Engage in use, and they are a bit slower starting to get the hang of it, and especially for the new stories and storylines. But I also think that it fits for the smaller companies. For example, we at Melt Lake, with 59 people today, are using it actively.
So how are you? And so okay, that's a good example. So how are you using it as an organisation? Is it like an official communications channel, or is it something that is kind of more community sort of focused?
Yeah, we are using it more for our community and like strengthening the organization culture. So
Okay,
we have these well done community there where we are praising people, and then all these we have the one for hobbies, and then we have one for Melt Lakers. So basically, when there is a company event or anything we do at Melt Lake, like non-work related stuff, we are posting videos and pictures there, and that kind of stuff. So it's for us it's mainly for the community
yeah.
and being part of the community.
Yeah. So how are you finding, and both this is internally at your organisation, but also with the clients you work with, in terms of accessing Viva Engage? So obviously it's a Teams app, and I think that has brought in and improved the user adoption of Viva Engage, having it included in Teams as an app. Are you seeing how are people accessing it?
Well, a lot of my customers are still using the browser view,
Okay.
but they are using also the Teams through Teams. The problem is that the notifications are still a bit, because you basically get only notifications from the people you follow when they are active. So I think there's still some development work to do before the Teams experience is as good as anything else.
Yeah, and obviously we've both been part of part of an intranet product, but also I imagine for yourself, you've been building intranets and deploying and crafting intranets for other clients as well. How do you see, or how does Viva Engage fit into that intranet type of scenario? So quite often a barrier has been, do I have to go out to another browser tab to look at what was Yammer then, but now Viva Engage for those that are still using the browser? Or how, are you integrating Viva Engage into intranets and SharePoint these days as well?
Yeah, my customers are still doing that. So basically the ones who have been using Yammer and Viva Engage still want to have certain feeds in the intranet, and basically using the out of the box web part still for that one.
Yeah, okay. And from a best practices side of things, can you share a little bit of insight into some successful implementations of Viva Engage that you've had? What has worked? Maybe even a starting point for organisations. Do we start small at smaller type of communities, or how have you seen the rollout or the implementation of Viva Engage being successful?
There is actually the keyword you just said. So the adoption and the implementation and really taking some effort to do it, that is the key in that one. Because if you just do it like so many organizations do for anything in M365, it's just like, okay, there you go, just go and use it, and that's not really adopting it, and it's not really helping to create a blooming community inside of it. So it's really important to plan a bit ahead, like plan and position the tool. So what is it going to be used for, in which cases, in which for which kind of communication, and like how much control do the organization want to have there, or do they want to everything to be free? So first plan that one, and then communicate about it and train the users. So basically communicate the purpose of the tool and everything that has been settled, like what is it going to be used for all the users, all the employees in the organization. And then let's not forget the community managers, because to have a successful or thriving community in Viva Engage, you need to have the community managers who are a bit pushing it forward and like encouraging people to start the conversation there until it gets running up to speed, like organically. And then I think it's really important that you should have some kind of use cases and examples for employees, and from the employees' point of view, what's in it for me, what are they going to use it for, and what they can benefit from using it.
I think
also
there's
showing
what about the hesitancy? Like I still see a lot of organisations hesitant about allowing, allowing their employees to be able to have that openness and be able to communicate across the organisation, and really just I guess that's where the community managers come into play, right?
That's also, but like I think the hesitancy is about, like, what if they say something negative?
Yeah, exactly.
What if they say something negative about our company or about our leaders? Well, I think the question is that they might already do so somewhere else, and if that is not within the organization data boundaries, it's probably not a good thing to do anywhere else either. So instead of being afraid that somebody will be negative, what if you just enable a safe place for your employees to express their negative feelings, and then actually try to learn from that and try to know that, okay, this person or these people have a problem. How can I help them with their problem? How can I solve it and make our organization better? Because usually there are reasons behind those negative feelings. And of course, sometimes they can be something that is not work related at all, but then it's your employee. So you probably should be interested in their problems anyway.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. I mean, it gives them, it helps with you mentioned company culture before. I'm sure your organisation, by utilising Yammer in a way, and it sounds like you've got a fairly understood way of what Viva Engage, I keep calling it Yammer, what Viva Engage is used for. And that's a point that you touched on before about a successful implementation, having clear, well, not boundaries, but I guess train lines, I guess, where people are then allowed to, or have the potential to stay inside of, and then be able to flourish inside of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now, what about from an employee engagement side? Do you notice? Coming from organisations that you're working with, even internally at yours, with the ability for employees to now have a voice, have you found that the engagement across the organisations improves?
Yes, definitely. And especially if the implementation have been done right, because they always have had the voice, but now it's easier for them to be heard, but they first need to know about that that they have this opportunity. So again, the role of implementation is really big.
Now, outside of Viva Engage, then, what have you been working on? What's what other areas are you seeing as as valuable to organisations? I mean, intranets are always a topical conversation. Are they dead? Are they just taking different avenues or different implementations? Do we still need them? How are you seeing that space at the moment?
I think we need them more than ever. Because,
Good answer.
Because because the intranet is the place for this steady place for information that all the people in the organization need from time to time. It can be so much more, but it always depends on what kind of other communication channels you have. But I've seen a lot of organizations who have been trying to replace the intranet with Teams, and that just doesn't work.
Doesn't work,
yeah. So, and now when there is this digital depth and like information overflow coming from so many sources and always something happening somewhere and a lot of notifications, you really need to have a steady place for information that you know where it exists and that you can go and find the information without needing to hassle around first for half an hour or how much time.
You still need that central place, right, to find all your company related documents, search for stuff. We always talk about policies and procedures and those structured type of documents. People still need a place to be able to go and do that. And what I'm finding, interested to hear what you see as well, but two type of intranets sort of being implemented that I'm seeing now is more one that's communication heavy, so lots of communication, and the other one is more focused on resource access or task orientated type of thing. So lots of dashboards and things that help a person in their particular role achieve something that they're trying to do. Are you seeing those styles being very, very popular at the moment?
Yes, I do. And what I think it's interesting is how Copilot is going to help us with this one. So, like you mentioned, the dashboards and then the source of like really communications oriented or information oriented, but it's going to be really interesting to see like how the M365 Copilot is going to change the intranet scene. From, of course, the information still needs to be somewhere, but like how is it going to be like we are going to go to a site or wherever we are going to go and ask from Copilot, can you help me with this one, and can you find me this information? So that is going to be interesting. What that is going to do for the intranets. But I think it doesn't replace them. We still need that.
No. You're still going to need a good information architecture and planning and all of that type of thing. It's only as good as the data that you've got, obviously. So having a well-structured environment is still going to be really important, I think.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And so on Copilot, well, the time of this recording, the last sort of 6 to 8 weeks has been pretty insane in terms of the features and functionality that are rolling out to SharePoint. We're obviously both, as was spoke about before, been involved in an intranet product where, the differentiator was a lot of times around branding and making SharePoint not look like SharePoint. And we've now got the branding center coming and a few other bits and pieces as well. So from what you've seen in that space, what are you going to find out of that is going to be really valuable to people, and what's exciting you about what's coming?
Well, I definitely hope, and I'm really excited about the possibility to make the content producers' life easier, because even though modern SharePoint is, especially compared to the classic one, it's really easy to create sites and put content there and do everything related to that one. But now, with, for example, with Copilot and the new branding center and everything that is coming up, it's going to be even more easier. So I hope that finally we are actually getting rid of all those dull pages with just text and no pictures, because it's going to be so much easier to create beautiful pages.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's going to unleash and uncover a lot of internal content creators, and then having the ease, or just chatting to your Copilot to say, create a page from this particular PowerPoint presentation, or include this imagery in these web parts, and bring in some content from this document, that document, and maybe from another resource. It's going to be certainly an interesting time, and some amazing content that's going to be created in SharePoint and intranets as a whole, I think.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, outside, I've noticed, and this is outside of SharePoint and everything that we've been talking about, but you've been creating a lot of content yourself. You've been doing a lot of presentations and doing doing a lot of content creation yourself, which has been really good to see. And I do remember it was a while ago now, but there was a comment that you made to me online, or a question, I can't remember what it was now, about you think that your content might be a little bit too simplistic. And I think I replied by saying something along the lines of, well, we think it's simple because we've been in this space for a very long time. So the things that we think are simple, others people do not. And I think I've noticed that in what you've been publishing, what you've been creating. So how's all that side of things going for you?
Well, I only wish there would be more hours in the day to be able to do everything. That's always the constant struggle within me, because I think that everybody knows this, like the things I know about.
That's the comment that you made. You thought that everybody knows it, but I'm telling you they don't.
I know they don't. But it's because I just I wish I would have more time to produce that kind of content, and like get over the barrier or the limit that not everybody really knows this. But I guess that comes from the fact that I want to offer something that is useful and not just making noise.
Yeah, no, it's what you've been doing is really, really good, and you've now presented at a few different conferences and things like that too. So you know your stuff, and continue to share everything that you come across. So before we wrap things up, Sari, it's been great having a chat with you and catching up and hearing about everything that you've been doing. Where can people contact you or get in touch with you, follow the content that you're producing, and just consume everything that you're doing now?
Great that you asked. Thank you. As we are recording this, basically LinkedIn and Twitter are my main channels, but I am preparing my own website. So there will be.
Look at you go! Your own website now too.
Yeah, I know. It's something that I would like to have to gather everything up, like the conference I'm speaking in and the blog posts and everything. So hopefully when this one comes out, it's about to be published as well.
Amazing. I'll make sure I link to all of those places in the show notes as well, so people can jump on there and follow you as well. So, Sari, thanks for jumping in the studio. It's been great to have a chat about a lot of different things, SharePoint and Viva Engage and everything else that you're doing. So, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Daniel. It was a real pleasure, and I hope that we can do this sometime again.
Indeed, we will.